Real Madrid getting knocked out of the Champions League is always a shocker, but losing 5-2 on aggregate to Arsenal, that is a whole different level. And to make matters worse, they actually lost the second leg at the Bernabéu, something that barely ever happens. It just hasn't been a typical UCL season for Los Blancos, and honestly, there are a bunch of reasons why. Carlo Ancelotti's tactics have been questionable. Real Madrid has 0 shots on target in the first half of the second leg, which is actually shocking given their attacking prowess. Also, injuries have piled up all year, and despite having a squad stacked with big names, there's been very little actual chemistry on the pitch. But maybe the biggest surprise of all, the massive dip in form from Vinicius Jr. in 2025. Once Real Madrid's electric game changer, now he's looking like a shadow of himself. So what the hell has happened to Vinny Jr.? Let's break it down. The big statement. Remember when Vinicius Jr. dropped that bold tweet after Rodri bagged the Ballon d'Or? "I'll do it 10 times if I have to. They're not ready." That was some real main character energy. Madrid fans were fired up. The club even skipped the ceremony in protest. It was drama at its finest. Was Vinny robbed? Maybe. Was it a bit over the top? Definitely. But since that moment, things haven't exactly gone to plan. Instead of kicking off a revenge tour, it's felt more like a quiet detour. By Vinicius' sky-high standards, this season's been a bit of a letdown. Sure, 11 goals and 7 assists in La Liga are decent, and his 11 contributions in the Champions League help his case, but it's not exactly Ballon d'Or material. And since January, it's been pretty underwhelming. Just 7 goals and 5 assists across all competitions. For someone who claimed he'd do it 10x, we haven't even seen it once at that level. Madrid needed their superstar to show up, and so far it feels like Vinny hasn't even taken the stage. What happens from here? It might just define the rest of Madrid's season. The pressure of being Vinicius Jr. Let's be real, being Vinicius Jr. probably isn't all sunshine and samba. The guy's lived under a microscope since he was a teenager, and not always for stuff within his control. First, it was Madrid fans giving him grief for missing a few chances early on, like he wasn't still learning the ropes. Then came the relentless hate from rival fans, some of it downright disgusting, especially the racist abuse. The rest, just people who are uncomfortable with a young star who dares to be confident and flashy. But here's the thing, if you're gonna strut, you've got to back it up. And lately, Vinny hasn't really delivered. His numbers aren't what we've come to expect, and when the goals and assists dry up, the swagger tends to fade too. That fearless vibe he used to carry into every game, the one that made defenders panic, it's been missing. Right now, he looks like a player who can be pushed around a bit, and that's not the Vinicius we're used to. Vinicius' dip in form isn't just something you see on the pitch. The stats are backing it up too. And it's not just that he's scoring less often, it's when he's scoring that's the issue. Since the start of the year, most of his goals haven't exactly been game changers. 2 came against Red Bull Salzburg in a match that meant nothing, 1 was in a chaotic loss to Valencia, and the latest goal against Arsenal came when the tie was nearly done. Only 1 could kinda be considered a winner, and even that was more of a cushion than a clutch moment. To make matters worse, he's fluffed a couple of big penalties lately. 1 in a crucial Champions League tie against Atleti, and another soft one that got saved by Valencia. That brings his total missed penalties this season to 3. Not great for someone expected to stay up in high pressure moments. And when you look deeper into his output, the drop off becomes even clearer. His shots per game, down. Shots on target, down. Even his overperformance on expected goals has taken a hit. Last year, he was taking risks and making magic. This year, it's a little more subdued. But hey, it's not all doom and gloom. His dribbling success rate has actually improved, and he's getting tackled less often. Signs that he's still sharp with the ball at his feet. His numbers now look a lot like they did in his 2021-22 breakout season, the one where he and Benzema tore Europe apart. The difference is, back then, he was riding a wave of confidence. So maybe that's it. Maybe the talent is still there, but Vinicius is just feeling the weight of a tough season. Fewer chances, more pressure, and not quite enough spark to carry Madrid like he used to. The broken system. So who's to blame for all of this? Well, let's be real. Most people saw this coming the moment moment Real Madrid tried to squeeze both Vinicius and Kylian Mbappe into the same system. These are two guys who thrive in the exact same zone, drifting in from the left, cutting inside and dominating the ball. It's like trying to fit two alphas into one role. Someone was always going to get the short end of the stick. And right now it looks like Vinicius is that someone, because while he struggled to find consistency, Mbappe's been quietly taking over. The Frenchman has racked up 22 goals in 29 games and sure, only 3 assists, which is kinda hilarious, but he's showing up when it matters. He bossed the pitch against Man City in the Champions League and rescued a point in the derby versus Atletico. Slowly but surely he's starting to look like that guy again, the one who broke all the scoring records at PSG by 25. Of course, Mbappe still has his quirks. He just got a red for a reckless challenge, which is somewhat understandable for a defender, but he's an attacker, which is not great, especially with a Clasico round the corner. And no, he still doesn't defend much, but Madrid knew what they were getting into. All the brilliance with a side of chaos. The problem? Vinicius might be the one paying the price for that deal, losing the support of the coach. Maybe fitting in Mbappe and Vinicius would have been easier if Madrid had a coach known to be a tactician. But we all know Ancelotti's more known for his man management skills. Maybe someone like Xabi Alonso, who's clearly more in tune with modern systems and tactical flexibility, wouldn't have let this whole Vinicius situation spiral the way it has. But let's be honest, if Madrid really wanted a tactical mastermind running the show, Ancelotti would have been gone ages ago. The man's strength isn't necessarily game plans or formations, it's managing egos, keeping things chill and making world-class talent feel at home. He's like football's ultimate cool dad. He knows what works, keeps the press happy and makes sure the dressing room doesn't explode. That said, he hasn't been able to explain Vinny's dip away. When asked about it, he pretty much lumped it into a general slump and pointed to defensive issues instead. Classic Ancelotti deflection. But things haven't been all sunshine behind the scenes. There was a pretty telling moment during a Copa del Rey match against Real Sociedad. Vinny was getting fouled left, right and centre, and instead of backing his star man, Ancelotti told him to stop whinging and just play. When Vinicius kept arguing, Ancelotti called for Brahim Diaz to warm up, and suddenly Vinny found a way to focus. Sure, that's just one moment, but it kind of hints at some underlying tension. Maybe it's just frustration, or maybe it's something bigger bubbling under the surface. Either way, it's definitely not the happiest chapter in the Vinny Ancelotti story, the end game. So where does Vinicius go from here? We're still talking about a guy who was this close to winning the Ballon d'Or not too long ago, and someone who's torn up the Champions League on more than one occasion. When he's on it, he's unplayable. But let's be real, things feel a little shaky right now. There's been talk again about Saudi clubs circling around, even though Vinicius and Ancelotti have both shut those rumours down. Still, you know how football works, smoke usually means fire, or at least some flicker of truth. Maybe it's just noise, or maybe it's a sign that his head's not fully in it. Of course, Vinny could totally flip the switch. He's got the quality for it, and with El Clasico coming, he might want to make a statement. Madrid is still in the race for La Liga and Copa del Rey, and if they want to complete the double, they will need Vinicius Jr. to step up his game. Well, that's it for this one. Let us know what you think about this whole situation. Is this just a blip or a sign of something bigger? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Catch you in the next one.